We're going to get started here in about 2 minutes. But if you are in this room, you are a family member of an 8th grader, someone coming into high school for the first time. If you are the family of a current North Creek student, a current 9th, 10th, 11th grader, your session is in the Aux gym at the end of the hall. So if you're here because you've got an 8th grader, you want to learn about 9th grade options, you're in the right spot. If you want to learn about 10th, 11th, or 12th grade options because your kiddo currently is already at North Creek, you are heading to the Aux gym. And that's freeing up seats up front where everyone always wants to sit. Right? Everybody goes to the front seats at all times. Okay, we'll start under 1 minute. Again, current 8th graders, incoming 9th graders is this room. Next year's 10, 11, 12s are down the hall. Good evening. Hello. We're going to get started. So, for those of you who I have not met because you are not part of the approximately 700 people in my high-cap session, which is why I was late because there were so many, it was awesome. I am Dr. Eric McDowell. I am the principal of North Creek High School. So, welcome to my high school. I apologize for being undressed, but it was baseball season and it's just been crazy, so you don't really look good there. Sorry about that. I figured we'd be okay. It's just us. Okay? So thanks for being here. Here's our agenda for tonight. We are going to go through graduation requirements. And by the way, I will post this slide deck on our website. So if you feel like taking photos, great. If not, it'll get posted. Same with the high-cap presentation. That'll get posted as well. So feel free to do what you need to do. We're going to talk about testing and other requirements, freshman classes, 9th grade classes. We're going to talk about the course request sheet, course catalog, and how to get this all to happen. Okay? So, before we go any farther though, look around, take a look. There are a lot of you. There is no chance I can answer each individual question about your child. Okay? So as we go through, if you think you have a question that applies to about 50 other people, that's a good question to ask. If it's a question about your kiddo and their specific needs, that's an awesome question. It's just an awesome question you are going to get the chance to ask to your child's counselor. Okay? It's not that it's a bad question. You're just going to direct that question to your child's counselor at Skyview or Leota, or if any of you are here from Candy Park or North Shore Middle, etc. Okay? That's what you're going to do. But here in this group, it's got to be something you think 50 people have. Probably 5 full rows of people have this. All right. You do not have to memorize this graph, but this is from the state of Washington. This chart tells us that in the state of Washington, all students must earn 24 credits. That's not a North Creek thing. That's not a North Shore thing. That's a state of Washington thing. It's called Core 24. This chart has all sorts of colors and graphs, etc., but we made it easier on the next one. So on the next chart, you'll see what they actually mean. Okay. Every child in the state of Washington needs 4 years of English to graduate. So your student coming to North Creek is going to take English every single year, not a choice. They need to take 3 years of math, 3 years of science, and 3 years of social studies to graduate. Although I'll be honest, most of our kids at North Creek take 4 years of math, almost always 4 years of science, almost always 4 years of social studies, even though it's not a requirement. So just know that those are sort of plugged in for most kids. Okay? Then it says they need to take 1 full year of art, and that can be visual or performing. So if your kid takes choir for a year, they're done with their requirement, or maybe your student is in orchestra, that would count as well. That's your 1 year. They can take more than that, and we'll get to that in a second, but they have to take a full year. They have to take a full year of career and technical education, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but there are all sorts of courses. Northview probably has 25 different courses that are in the CTE area. And again, they need a full year, but they can take more if they want. The next one down, they need to take 2 full years of PE and health. And that's very different than the middle school. In middle school, you don't have it for the entire semester. Here, you'll have a PE class for the entire semester, okay? Or a health class. The state of Washington, by the way, says that health is a requirement for all students. I can't waive it. So your students will be taking health and then PE, okay? They can take more than this. Some of my seniors have figured out that PE has no homework. And they have gone, maybe 2 or 3 PE senior year makes senior year happier. Your kids may or may not figure that out, but I might have just, spread the secret there a little bit. But it's also just super fun, right? We have a great department. The next one I want to get to is world language. And I want everybody to hear this one. World language is not, I repeat, not a requirement to graduate. It's not. Not in the state of Washington. So if your student avoids taking a world language at high school, they're going to be fine to graduate. What it does, though, is it slams the door shut on all 4-year colleges. I don't know of a 4-year college in the United States that doesn't require at least 2 years of a language. Some more selected colleges actually require 3 years of a language, and some very prestigious colleges actually require 4 full years of a world language. So our advice to you is have your students start their world language in 9th grade. Have them start with Japanese 100, or Spanish 100, or French 100, or whatever it might be. Take that second year, because what that does is it opens the doors. It gives your child all the options. And then as they get a little older, by junior year, they might be starting to look at colleges and going, oh, yeah, that college needs 3 years. So then they take the 3rd year, junior year. And some might even be like, oh, I really want to shoot for, I believe Harvard, by the way, requires 4. Right? They might, I want to shoot for Harvard, so then they can make that plan to take a 4th year language. But they can't do that if they don't start in 9th grade. So our advice to you is have them start one of the world languages, okay, in 9th grade. Real quick, before we get to the question, yes, many colleges do accept the world language competency credits because many of your kids earn them. We are lucky that we have about 47 different languages spoken here in North Creek. By the way, we're super lucky. We are the most diverse school in the North Shore School District, and that is awesome. So congratulations on that. You can clap. I think that was a really good thing. So while they can earn credits, not every college takes those as filling the fact that you learned college language in school, right? So you're going to want to look at the specific colleges you might be thinking about in order to do that. And then finally, at the bottom, your student gets to have 7 flex credits. That means anything they want. Anything that they think is great. A flex credit could be that next math class that's not up there, right? It could be that bonus PE class senior year, right? Could be anything they feel like. And that's up to your student to figure out, okay? As long as they add up to 24, they're all good. In North Shore, that is not difficult, okay? North Shore, with our 7-period day, we actually have the ability for most kids to earn 28 credits, which is a great thing, okay? It actually helps out a lot. They get a lot more experiences. They can explore things that they might not have otherwise explored, and then they start to find their passion that they want to pursue at the next level, okay? So 99% of your kids are going to be just fine on the credits. We just got to make sure they hit the right buttons. Right? The big question is, what do they take next year? Okay, next year, 9th grade, high school. Ooh, it's going to be fun. All right. We're going to fill 7 periods, as it says up there in the corner. But in the red box, it talks about what's required. So, as we talked about, English is required for every student all 4 years. So, nearly all your kids are going to just write down pre-AP 9. Pre-AP English 9, check mark, done. Okay? They're going to take the next math class. Don't know what that is because we probably have at least, I'm going to guess, at least 5 different math levels in this room right now. But if they're currently in algebra, they take geometry. If they're in geometry, they take algebra 3. On and on and on. If your student is confused at all about what the next math class to take, all they have to do tomorrow is go ask their math teacher. Okay, so just ask their math teacher, what's the next one after this? Their math teacher will tell them. So they just take the next thing. And then world history, this is important. Your student has to take world history 1 total time, and it can be 9th grade or 10th grade. Okay? And we have 2 versions. We have world history and AP world history. Either one. But you take one of those just 1 time. It's up to you and your family to think about all the things your student wants to take and what year is that going to be the best. And honestly, there's no right answer. Each year, with an incoming 9th grade class, we honestly have about 50% of them taking in 9th grade and about 50% of them taking in 10th grade. So there's no right answer there. There's just kind of whatever they're trying to squish in. In the blue box, they're not really required, but we think it's super important to get started with science. And again, most of the time at North Creek, kids will take 4 years of science. So get started on science. Most of your kids are going to start with biology. There will be some who don't, but most will start with biology. We think it's important to start that PE class going. PE and health is the next one. Our health class is designed for 9th and 10th graders, for younger students. Have your student take that class because it will be a little awkward, and it happens, of course, about once every year. We find some senior who forgot, and then they're in this class with a whole bunch of 9th graders, and they feel very awkward, right? So make sure you get that on the radar. Take that in 9th grade or very last 10th grade. Life Fitness is a PE course. It is required by the North Shore School District. No way to get out of it. So that's another one to just get going on. Okay? Now, again, 9th and 10th grade. And then finally, I already talked about world language, so you're all going to do that. So we started on world language, whatever one they're passionate about. And then starting to look at those CTE options. And I'll get to another slide that has those. But the career technical ed, it's also on your registration sheet. There's a whole section that talks about CTE. Having them get started, they only need the 1 year. But the reason I say get started is a lot of kids find a passion area by doing that. One of our CTE classes that lots of students really start to like are the computer courses. A lot of kids don't know that's a CTE area. A lot of your kids get super turned on by computers, by coding classes. They end up taking AP Comp Sci A. We actually have advanced programming topics, like an intermediate data programming class from the UW. All of that's actually into the CTE side. There's also things like interior design, there's child development, there's all sorts of great classes, and a lot of your kids are going to find something like, oh, that's really cool, I like that. Right? Well, let's not wait till junior or senior year to figure that out. Start in 9th grade, right? And then on this side, actually, I have a different slide for you. There are 3 classes we really recommend, and they are these 3. We really recommend leadership class. It's just a semester class. It doesn't take a whole year, but what it does is it starts to teach kids how they can make a difference at their school and in the community around them. And I'll give you a couple quick examples. A couple years ago, actually this year's the first year, so last year, when kids were tardy, we would hand them detention. Right? None of your kids have ever been tardy, so they wouldn't know what this is talking about. But we would hand detention after detention after detention. And the leadership class came to us and they said, is that actually making a difference? Like, is it really helping? So we looked at it and we said, actually it's not. What would you propose? And the leadership class students proposed, well, why don't we do a reward system instead for kids who have on-time behavior? So now, for parking spots, because that's a big deal with kids being junior, you get first choice if you have the least targets. When we have food trucks out here all the time, tacos and ice cream and stuff like that. If you have very few targets, you get a wristband that says, cut the line. I don't care if there's 30 people, go to the front. Kids are like, yeah, I'm going to the front, right? That actually has made a difference. And that's because leadership class came to us and made a difference in the community. A few years back, we didn't let seniors off campus for lunch. Leadership class said, but seniors, right, aren't they responsible enough to go out for lunch? They made us a proposal and we said, let's do it. And seniors have been going off campus ever since. So we recommend leadership. We think it's a great class. One semester, it's not a year long, you can fit other stuff in. The next one, AVID. AVID is a class that stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. Advancement via Individual Determination. AVID is a course offered at basically pretty much almost all high schools across the country. It's everywhere, okay? What it is a class typically for students who might be the first in their family to go to college, maybe first or second. They're determined, they want to go, but they don't know 100% on how all that works yet. Okay? We have AVID for 9th grade, AVID 10, AVID 11, and AVID 12. And so far, every year, our kids in AVID 12, even the kids who said, oh, I don't think I'm going to go to college, I don't know if I can. 100% of our AVID seniors have all gotten into the universities they wanted to get into. Okay? It's a great class, especially if your kiddo is one who's going to be one of the first generations to go to college. Okay? So think about that one, it's a great class. And then finally at the bottom, I was talking earlier about the awesomeness that it is that we have so many languages and cultures here in North Crete. This class called Ethnic Studies, we were actually the only school offering it a year ago. I think we're one of two now in North Shore offering it. And this class is about, as it says up here, the cultural, economic, historical, political, and social aspects. Like how is all of this working? We have got so many different cultures here, right? How do we learn to respect and value all of those? Again, it's just a semester course. This year, we offered 4 full sections of it. That means about 120 kids signed up, which is great. I'd like to offer even 6 or 8 sections next year. It is a fantastic course taught by some really dynamic teachers, and we are finding that it's an amazing thing. It's becoming such a cool course that I know there is discussion about the potential of someday making a graduation card. So you can get in on that early. But it's an absolutely fantastic course and a great combo. I'm just saying out loud. Semester of leadership, semester of ethnic studies. That makes a year. Oh, come on. I could get a smile out of it. Couldn't I at least? Come on, tough audience. All right. Here's something in all of your forms. So your kids brought forms. I see people holding packets. In your form is something called the Automatic Advancement Law Opt-Out form. And I'll tell you what this is, and I think there's a whole bunch of words on there, but a couple years ago, the state of Washington passed a law that said if your student passes the Smarter Balance test, which they all take in 8th grade, if they pass it, they automatically have to be in the highest level course that's available to them in that next thing. No choices. So lots of the options that we had aren't going to be there just because they passed the Smarter Balance test. Our thinking on that, the state has said if you opt out of automatically being advanced, then you can take any class you want, including the high-level courses. Right? So if you want to take the high-level course, you can opt out and still take it. if you don't opt out, some choices get taken away from you. So our advice to you, and I've actually had all the ninth graders I've met with in the last little bit, actually X the boxes, is on this form, opt out of automatic acceleration, you lose nothing, you simply gain the ability to choose any course you want to choose that's available for ninth graders, okay? You lose nothing. But if you don't, here's a quick example. Let's say you don't opt out. Your kiddo, because they're awesome, passes the Smarter Balanced English test, which 95% of the kids do. And you just wanted to take regular world history. You didn't want to take AP, you did not want to take advanced placement world history. If you don't opt out, and your kid passes, I'm going to have to come to you and say, they don't get a choice. They don't get to take regular world history. They have to take advanced placement college level world history because you didn't opt out. Okay? If you opt out, can they still take AP world history? Yes, 100%. But do they have to? No, you get that option. Opting out gives you all the options. Okay? So I hope that's clear. Great question. He said, in my example, I mentioned English and then I went to social studies. This guy is going to give the presentation next year. He's good. The law says your English and social studies are based on the English test, and your math and science are based on the math test. So if your kiddo passes the Smarter Balanced Math, they have to be in the highest level science class, even if they don't want that. Right? They might go like, I don't really want to do that. Opt out, and they can if they want to, and you want them to, or they don't have to. Opting out just gives you full choice. Okay, there's no good reason, in our opinion, to not opt out. Okay. Yeah, the merit, I don't want to go into it too long because that's a great question. Probably 50 people have, so I'm going to give it to you. That was nice. The idea behind it was, in the past they looked at the data, not necessarily North Shore data, they looked at state data, and they said, sometimes we have students who in the past have been marginalized, typically are black and brown students, who got a really good score on the SBAC, might have gotten a 4, but never took the advanced course. When getting the 4 is like, they're clearly ready. So there was some good thinking there. My personal opinion, as I'm being filmed, and this makes me a little nervous, is that when they changed it from just passing the SBAC, passing now the SBAC, actually the score could be as low as 2.5. I'm not sure kids who score 2.5 are ready for the highest level of everything in every area. Okay? That's my opinion. So again, do I want kids to try advanced things? Absolutely. I think every kid should try an advanced course in a passion area they have. Maybe they're an artist, they should try AP art at some point, maybe junior or senior year. Maybe they're a musician, try AP music theory. We've got mathematicians, we're going to try AP calculus, right? What we shouldn't have is any kids trying AP everything, because none of us are advanced in every single area in the world, right? So we want them to try something, but within reason, okay, within reason. Yes. Great question from her. Do we have to opt out every year? And the answer is yes. You'll get the chance to make X's and boxes each year of high school. Isn't that exciting? I know, I wish we could keep track, but that's not the law. We have to go look, yeah. No. Opt out, gives you all the choices. Okay, I'm moving on. We're gonna go on. You can find tons of information on our counseling webpage. I'm gonna flash through these because you're all digital savvy. And here's how I know you're gonna be able to find it on the website, because you have children. And your children can find it for you. That's perfectly okay to admit that. Okay? Go to North Creek Counseling course registration. You're gonna go over to the left nav bar, and it's gonna say registration process. Then you're going to find at the bottom a step-by-step how do I do this guide? It's there for you right now. I just took these screenshots this afternoon, so I know it's all there. This is there tonight for you. You can look at those things as many times as you want. There's slide decks, there's videos. The first thing you're going to want to do is just review the slides. That's what we're going to have these loaded up for you. Okay? You'll understand grad requirements. You're going to look at your 4-year plan. And that's actually a smart thing to start doing with your students. Is like, what's the 4-year plan? It doesn't have to mean it's made in stone. They can change it. But it's good to get them starting to think about their 4 years in high school, which to them seems like forever, which it is at their age, right? That's a long time. But it's good to start thinking. Number 4, you can choose your courses, and we're going to go through this in a little bit, just even more. But I typed something at the top that says there are basically going to be no schedule changes next year. You know that we are, or you probably know, we are over capacity in our classes. Just outside this building, right over there, we just built 4 more modular classrooms. Okay? This school was designed for about 1,650 kids, and right now I have 1,950. Okay? So because of capacity, no schedule changes. The other things, and I said this in the high-cap presentation, and I've said it to kids all day long, is I personally go out, and I literally mean me as the principal, go out and hire teachers to teach the classes your kids want. Right? So a ton of kids want digital photography, they're super into it, and they want to, great. I will go hire enough digital photography teachers for that class. The adult world, as you all know though, once I hire someone and they're on contract, I can't unhire them because your kid changed their mind. That's not how it works, right? So choose your classes carefully. You're going to hear me say this about 10 times today. And then some of you will just be mad next year, which is okay, I'm tough. This is my 17th year being a building principal. But when you ask, please, 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 I know I didn't put drama down, but I went to drama camp this summer and I'm positive I'm going to win an Oscar. And I'm going to say, that's awesome. And you can take drama as a 10th grader. I'm not going to change the course because you didn't ask for it. Okay? Because I went and hired the teachers your kids need for the things they asked for. We have a student-driven schedule in this building. Whatever your kids ask for, I try to give them. Okay? Then you're going to go to the course planning sheets, and I see folks with their planning sheets right here. But as I said in the email, if your kid loses it or you just want one, just click on the correct year. You can print those at home or just look at it as PDFs. They're all available. So if your kiddo loses theirs, don't stress. They can still go to 9th grade. We joke with them that if they lose their form, they have to repeat 8th grade. That's not true, except for a couple. All right, here we go. And then at the end, there is a video on how your kid enters all this into student view. It is not difficult. Most of our kids in 8th grade, even though it's the first time they've ever done it, it takes them less than 5 minutes to put all the course requests in student view. Okay? But if they get confused again, there's a little click here, and there's literally a movie, and the kids and you can watch it as many times as you need in order to be able to put them all into student view. Okay? But like I said, it literally takes 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 at the very outside. It's not a super laborious process. Okay? You're all going to want to go to the North Creek webpage, which I already showed you where that was, and you're going to want to find the course catalog. The course catalog actually is in 10 different languages. So because I couldn't get into all 47 languages that we speak here, but I got into the top 10. And so it's available, and it tells you everything you need to know about the various courses we have. And it looks like this. I chose geometry because at some point everybody takes geometry. So at the top, it always says the name of the course. Just what is it called? That's how you're looking it up. Right below it is the course code. That's very critical because the course code is what they're going to put in student view when they want to ask for that class. So they're going to put in, to ask for geometry, they're going to ask for MGE 100. The A/B will come up automatically, you don't need that. But the code is MGE 100. Then below that, it tells you, is it year-long or semester? Geometry is a year-long class. What grades can you take geometry in? Well, you can take it in 9, 10, 11, or 12. If 9 isn't there, that's not for your kiddo. Okay, and there are quite a number. If they go to U.S. history, they're going to see it says 11, 12. U.S. history is not a class for 9th graders. Okay, so it has to say 9th grade to be available. It also has to be on their sheet. Every course that's available to a 9th grader is already on the form. Okay? The next, are there any prerequisites? Prerequisites are critical. Every course that has a prerequisite on your form has a little asterisk by it, a little star. A prerequisite is just something you have to do before you can take this class. So for geometry, the prereq is you have to take Algebra 1. That's the course right before it. Okay, that's why on geometry there's going to be a little star. So make sure you're looking through the reg form and looking for all the little stars, and then go to the course catalog and find out what is the prerequisite. Okay? And if your student's done that, good to go. Okay? There might be a fee for the class. Sometimes the fees are really small. Ceramics. Lots and lots and lots and lots of kids take ceramics. Like more kids than I can fit in the ceramics room take ceramics. And there's like a $15 fee for the class. Because they get to make you little pots and little teacups and little vases that you're going to love, right? But they take that home, so it's $15. So the fee is almost always something really small. The diploma category, don't worry about that. There might be some notes in geometry, like it's good to have a graphic calculator. Not required, but it's a good thing we have graphic calculators in the classroom. But it's a nice thing to have. And then there's a big description. What is the class all about? So you'll go to the course catalog. The course catalog, it's a Google Doc. It's got a table of contents. It's 70 some odd pages long, filled with courses. Literally hundreds and hundreds of courses. So you're going to want to look at your reg form. If your student is saying, I don't know what CAD lab is, you're going to go, that's okay. We're going to go to the course catalog. And you're going to look up CAD lab. Okay? And it'll tell you all the things about what CAD lab is. Or if you're like, what exactly do you do in aviation? You're going to say, let's go to the course catalog. I bet there's a link for aviation. And there is. Okay? Really critically important. And I've actually seen tons of your kids on it already. So they all know where it's at. I think earlier I mentioned that there are no schedule changes. This is the slide from the course catalog that says, in lots and lots of words, that there are no schedule changes. Okay? The only time we're going to change the schedule is one of the yellow reasons. So, for example, a diploma requirement is missing. That won't be your kids, but we do have to do that sometimes with juniors when we be seniors because they forgot to take a semester of something, and we have to get that in there so they can graduate. An administrative withdrawal, that's number 2. Okay? That's me, or one of the assistant principals. That typically is something like your student registered for basketball class, they were super excited about basketball class, and they broke their leg. Basketball class is going to be very difficult. I will request a fee change. It's like, they can take basketball actively. Okay? The third one down is they have an incomplete schedule. Every now and then, just for some unknown reason, the computer doesn't fill every little hole in, and they might, I've had a kid come to us one time and say, how come I don't have 4th period? I'm like, we'll get you 4th period. That's a mistake. We'll fix it, right? Duplicate classes. I did last year have a kid who ended up with the same math class 3 times during the day. Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake that the computer made. We'll fix that, right? You don't have to have math 3 times. And then if your student has an IEP, or maybe they're a student who's learning English as an additional language, we might have some adjustments there. Notice what's not on the list. What's not on the list is my student changed their mind. That's not on the list. Not a reason. Here's another one that's not on the list. They want to change classes because their friends are in the other lunch. Yeah, no, that's not on the list. Here's another one that's not on the list. They want to change classes because their best friend is in the other class. Yeah, no, that's not up there. It's not yellow. Okay, there's a whole bunch of reasons why kids might want to, And what we say is, you know what, you can make other friends, which they do, by the way. Okay? But we can't be switching all that around. It would just be chaos, and honestly, next year, with the number of kids we have, it's just not possible. So choose your classes carefully. We have a little saying in North Creek, if you choose a class and you get the class, you keep the class. Yes, you do. Okay? So, and as it says in pink, nothing can be dropped after the 10th day, so we try to do all those errors within the first 10 days, because then it's affecting anything on the transcript. And then the bluish, full year classes are just that, full year. After one semester and a year long, your kid can't say, I don't want it anymore. Okay, well, it says year-long classes are full year, so you're going to stay. Okay? The only exception, which will not happen to your child, but if they fail terribly for a semester, they get an F in a year-long class, it's possible we might make a change, rather than kind of torture them for second semester. Okay? But we have under 1% of kids fail, so it's very, very rare. Okay. Yeah? She said, other than the website, are there other resources to talk to? You can always talk to folks in the community, or if you know families who have older kids. So you can always talk to your school's counselor. My counselors in North Creek have their 2,000 students to take care of, so your best bet as yours is your particular student's counselor at Skyview or Leo, or Short, Canyon Park, whatever your middle school is. No insulting tenant. Okay? Oh, what does that say? Schedule changes are not possible. Just try to be clear. Okay, how do you fill out the course sheet? So this is important, so we all do it correctly, and we've got some folks who got it. What happens is, the red box at the top says, read the course catalog. That's where you're going to find out your info. And then on your course sheet, and again, you can download these at home. I put it in a red box below. But the critical thing to think about is, a year-long class has two little triangles, triangle slash triangle. That means first semester slash second semester, year-long. If it's just a box in the middle, that's a semester class. Might be first semester, might be second semester, that's random, the computer decides that, but it's only one of the two semesters. And there are a few classes that are box slash box, which means that's a semester class, but you really can take it twice. Most of those are PE classes, but we do have kids that want to take, honestly, one of our most popular box slash box classes is yoga slash yoga. We have kids who want to take yoga both semesters. They love being stretchy, they love being limber, it's chill, it's a nice class, it's relaxing, right? Their favorite position if you're into yoga is corpse pose, where they just lay there, around. Yeah, that is their favorite. So somebody's like, yup, all year long, I want to take yoga. Okay? So that's totally available. So how do you fill out your sheet? This person coming in, this is an 8th grade person coming in 9th grade, chose their English class, because I told you have to take English all 4 years. So notice they darkened both triangles, because that's a year long. They chose Intro to Engineering and CAD Lab, and notice that's Career and Technical Ed. We talked about that. You need to get 1 full year of CTE, Career Technical Ed. So that's right on your form. You can see what those classes are. So I want you all to think, how many things were read right now? 4. Keep that in your head. On the next page of their form, they also selected Health and Life Fitness. Why? Because they listened to me at this presentation when I told them you should take Health and Life Fitness. So this is a good person. Then they also took Drawing and Ceramics, trying to get their 1 year of art. Remember, you have to take 1 full year of art. So they're getting that taken care of. So we had 4 on the first page, 4 on this page. That makes 8. I was a math teacher. And then on their final page, this student chose science, because we recommend doing science, so they chose biology. They chose both semesters. They chose to start their world language, thumbs up to that. Spanish and Spanish, so 2 little more marks. And down here, they chose their next math class. So this student was in Algebra 1 already, in 8th grade, so they chose geometry for 9th grade. 1 and 1. So we have 8 before, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 marks is the critical number. Not 13, not 15, 14. And the reason? 7 periods times 2 semesters. Is that making sense to everybody? That's why 14. 7 periods times 2 semesters. So your student is going to know they're done when they've gotten all 14 made. If they choose 15, my counselors, when they come down, are going to make them delete something, because that's not possible. And if they only chose 13, we're going to make them fill something else out, because that means they didn't have enough to do a 7-period game. Okay? 14 is the magic number. Yeah. We haven't. Great question. If we have jazz band, which we don't know about yet, 0 period, it will have jazz band, just whether it's 0 period or not. The few kids who would have jazz band would actually have 60. Okay? But you can ask that specifically if you guys, because there's only 17. For 50 people, great question. I'm going to get to that. You honestly thought of my next slide. I'm going to give you $5 for that. Okay? His question was, they selected these 14, what if they don't get into it? What happens then? Okay? The honest answer is, I get about 95% of the kids into every single thing they ask for. I work for weeks on math schedule with my registrar. We get almost every kid everything they ask for. But, as the astute gentleman said, what if? There is a blank section on each reg form that asks your student to write in, because it's blank, write in alternates. And what an alternate is if I can't get into something, because it's too full, it didn't have enough kids in the first place to even offer the class, I'd be okay being in one of those. Okay? Again, 95% of your kids, we're never going to look at this page. They'll just get into all the stuff they do. But sometimes things happen. Every now and then, there's a class where there just aren't enough kids. At North Creek, when I'm trying to build a class, I look to see if there's about 36 to 40 to start that want that class. Because I know, as we build the schedule, some kids will naturally have a conflict and get knocked out, and they won't make it, and another kid will get knocked out. But there needs to be in the upper 30s to just maintain the class. If there's a class where maybe only 8 kids even ask for it, that class isn't happening. 8 is just far too few. Okay? Those 8 kids then, their counselor are going to go to the alternate. They'll probably give your family a call and say, hey, I saw that you had both basketball and leadership on there. You need one of those because it could get you to say, which one do you want? And they could go, basketball. Great, you're in. Okay? If you do not put anything down on this at all for alternates, it's blank, and we can't get your child into something, what you're saying is, dear Dr. McDuffie, we trust you. We know you've never met our child, but feel free to pick a class for them. And I will. I will think to myself, your child would really like advanced farming. And I will put them in advanced farming where they can meet cows, and they will love it, right? And your kid's going to go, farming? I don't want to be in farming. And you're going to have to look at them and say, gosh, you didn't put down any alternates. Enjoy the cows, right? So put down some alternates. I don't know your kids. They're probably amazing, awesome, incredible. I don't know what they like, right? So don't put it on me to know that. Okay? So put down alternates, because then I'll give them the things they want. Okay? But again, 95% of you are going to get the first 14. That's just, and you will get every English class you ask for. You will get every math class you ask for. You'll get every science class you ask for. You'll get every social studies class. Anything in the core area, you will get that class. Period, full stop. Nobody gets kicked out of their math class, no matter how much you kids want to get kicked out of your math class. Okay? you'll get those. The things you won't get necessarily sometimes are just the electives, right? Those sometimes you have to play with. You might not get basketball, but I can get you into team sports. Okay, most kids are like, yeah, that sounds fine, right? So don't stress about the core classes. If your kid chooses a language, they're in the language. So if they choose Spanish 100, they're in Spanish 100. Don't stress. Okay, we got it. It's mostly the electives that we have to play with sometimes. CTE courses sometimes can be full. Safety issues like the metal fab room has all sorts of cutting tools, etc. I can't overload that just for student safety. So in that case, let's say there are 40 kids who wanted it, I can get 36 in safely. That means 4 kids have to wait till next year. Okay? So sometimes I have safety things I have to think about as well. Okay? So you know you're going to be done when you filled out your course registration form and it's signed by you as family members. You've put your course requests in student view. So they're all in. And then your counselors, actually my counselors, are coming back to the middle schools next week. They're going to meet one-on-one with each kiddo. They're going to look at the paper form, compare it to student view. They'll go, yep, those are the same. Quick put in a password, they're locked in, good to go. If the counselor sees anything wrong, that's okay, that's why they're there. They'll just help your student get it right. No big deal. And then the goal is at the end of next week, we have all of our current 8th graders locked in, ready to go, getting their course requests done. Okay? The schedule for that, I'll get to that in a second. There's a schedule, the last slide, I got it. One other thing before we get to the very end. We have all sorts of other fun things that you don't have to register for, that your kids can just look forward to. Okay? Clubs and activities. At North Creek, which is different than most of the other high schools in North Shore, we run our clubs and activities during the school day, during an advisory period on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Okay? We have a bajillion clubs. This is by far, I couldn't even get them all on. This is probably, I don't even know, 30? There's probably 60 or 70 different clubs that kids go to, including pickleball club. Last year we had spike ball club. I had to learn what spike ball was. Right? So all sorts of fun things. No requirements to register for these. They'll just find out about these at the start of 9th grade. We have a giant club and activities fair. They just put their name down on the paper and they're in. No like requirements to join for any reason. They can just be in the club. If your kid doesn't find a club that they want, they can form their own, which happens every single year. We have new clubs that form all the time. And sometimes clubs go away because nobody wants that club anymore. That's okay too. Okay? But that's something really to look forward to. It's really fun because it happens right during the school day. They don't need to worry about missing the bus. They don't need special transportation. It doesn't cost anything. Right? It's just a fun part of being in North Creek. And then the sports are on the right side in purple-ish. And the sports are the same at all high schools. Okay? The reason these two are up there, and it's both a fun reason, because it's great, but it's also a serious reason. Research is very clear. Kids, especially 9th graders, because 9th grade is that hard transition out of middle school into high school. That's a tough transition for almost all kids. The research is really clear. Kids who are involved in clubs or activities or sport have better grades, better attendance, and fewer discipline incidents than kids who get involved in nothing. The kids we worry about as administrators are the kids who don't get involved in anything. Okay? So have your kid figure out what they like. Like this is all on the website. There's a zillion clubs. Right? And if they don't like one of them, they can say, Mom, I don't like any of those. You say, what do you like? You say, wow, let's do this thing. You said, and form a club for that, which is actually really easy. Okay? Have your kid get involved. That is the number one thing I can say. All right, these were the dates. Next week, we are coming back to Leota on the 4th, because you guys have had all this paperwork since before midwinter break. And then we're going to come back to Skyview on the 5th, and finish this whole thing up. Okay? So next week, that means your student needs to have that paper copy with them. If you need to, put it in their backpack for them. I've seen backpacks before, they're scary. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then make sure it's in student view. Have them show you. Hey, just show me student view. You put all your requests in there. All you have to do, you don't have to know anything about anything except how to count to 14. If you count, there's 14 lines, you're like, great job. Even though you're like, I don't know what any of those are. You don't have to tell them that. Just go, good job. Waste the time. Okay? 14 lines. Not 13, not 12, not 15, 14. Except for you, Jackson, we'll get to that later. Okay? And then they're going to be ready. And like I said, your kids are going to get their math, they're going to get their science, they're going to get social studies, they're going to get their English, they're going to get 95% of them are going to get all their electives. And then you're going to make sure they have alternates just in case, so your kid does not have to take farming. Okay? That's why. Okay. Last couple questions, and then, as you can see, there's a zillion of you, but I also have a family that I need to get to. Before I get to this question, you're going to have questions. That's okay. You're going to direct those questions to your student's current counselor at the middle school. Or, even better, have your student ask their counselor tomorrow, Monday, or Tuesday at their school. Right? Empower them to ask that question. Even if it's your question. You say, hey, can you ask this question for me and then get back to me? The kid might be like, yeah, okay? So you're going to do that because you're going to have questions, and that's perfectly okay. This gentleman gets the last question. Sir. Oh, he said 2 easy questions. See how we slid that in? It really is Monday, Tuesday. Whatever the 2 dates are, if I've got the dates wrong, it's 6, it really is Monday, Tuesday. Okay? Great question. He said, what's the probability of a 6th period day? The answer is 0%. The teachers union has voted. We are keeping the 7th period day so the kids have more electives, more fun things to do. So we are on a 7th period day, 100% certain, no questions. It's all good. That was an awesome question. Thank you for that. And again, thank you to all the teachers for that, because they're the ones who said, even with this budget crisis, what's important to us is that kids have different options. That kids can take electives. That kids don't just have just 4 classes all day long. I personally think that's a huge statement from our Teachers Association. I'm super proud of them for that, for saying that that's really important. Okay? You can give a clap right there. And then my last thing to say, and I am certainly biased. I have been here since the day this building was built. I was here when this was dirt. I've hired most of the teachers. So I'm a little biased. But I think when you find North Creek has amazing teaching. We poll kids, and the kids will say, I actually like all 7 of my teachers. And I know that sounds like that should be every place, but it's not. You might think to yourself that I like all my teachers. But regularly, kids will say they like all the teachers because the teachers show that they care. So I'm excited to have your kids here. I think it's going to be a great year. I'm very prejudiced about my school. I think it's the best school in Washington. We, by the way, have the best graduation rate of any of the schools in North Shore. Just throwing that out, like we are #1, so we'll take that. But it's because you are awesome families, and you give us awesome children to educate. With that, take your kids home, and we'll see you soon. All right?